Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Andy, Andy, we're still at war, bro.
I don't know that we are at war, and I'm going to save that for a minute. We're tonight is going to be 90% Iran, but there were three just quick hits I want to do. We can't spend much time on this, but the first one, I want to give you some props. You were correct, I think, on our last show, maybe 2 shows ago, and I corrected you, and you were right, and I was wrong on one thing.
Mysterious earthquake swarm hits Nevada near top secret base used for testing nuclear weapons. Oh,
So the majority of this article is that most people think that we're testing nukes in like caves outside of this airbase in Nevada. You said recently that you had read that we were testing nukes again, like in the continental United States, and I told you there was no way that's happening. If we're doing it, we're doing it out in the South Pacific. They might be testing nukes underground. So
do you think they're actually testing like nukes or just the bombs that provide the nukes?
I don't
Because
understand the question.
so there's bombs, and then they add the nuclear
So there's
material to.
missiles, there's
There's
missiles,
missiles,
and at
yes.
the end of the missile, you either have a normal warhead or a nuclear warhead. If they were
Hmm.
testing the missiles, you can't do that underground. You test that in the air.
So they're just basically contaminating parts of our country and in the world. Like we shouldn't be doing this anywhere. Anywhere
So,
across the entire world. Like we've seen what happens in Chernobyl, what's happened in Fukushima and
well, those are
Nagasaki.
nuclear power plants. So, but yeah, nuclear fallout's bad in general. Yeah.
Yes.
So here's the thing. We don't know for sure that they're doing this, so this is all allegedly. This article made some good points that it looks like we are doing this. Also, this swarm of sudden earthquakes started hitting as soon as remember that nuclear treaty that ended like a couple weeks ago between us and
Hmm.
Russia, and part of that nuclear treaty was a ban on testing. And like as soon as that treaty expired, we started having all these random earthquakes out in a part of the country that we don't normally have earthquakes. It seems like we immediately started testing nukes. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, I see a big plume of smoke going in the air. Like it falls on somewhere. It falls everywhere.
Well, they're doing it underground, so there's no smoke in the air. It's just a rumble. It's like hundreds of feet underground.
Okay, so then there's underwater aquifers and rivers and creeks. There's tons of water underground. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
seep into there and then it's gonna get into our water supply and it's gonna kill people. Like we should not be doing this to our people.
Let me just say it. Let's just say you got to test a nuke. Like for whatever reason, let's just say you got to test one. Do you think it's more harmful to do it above ground on some island in the Pacific or underground? I don't know the answer. I'm just wondering what you think.
It depends on where underground. Because what
Okay.
if it's in like, let's just say the Edwards Aquifer in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
If it's there, then all of like Austin, San Antonio, that's all their water supply.
I guess do we trust our government to not do it where there's an aquifer?
No, that's
Okay.
what I'm saying is I
Yeah.
don't like.
Okay. Well, anyhow,
And even if there's not an aquifer, there's always runoff. Like that's coming from out of the ground up into the air, whatever it is. I think it's probably more than dust. It's probably nuclear particles, and it's getting under the ground. And even when it rains, it's going to go into that bunker and it's going to fill up with water and it's going to, there's just no reason for us to ever to test nukes. There's no reason for us to even have nukes.
okay, what you're saying about the whole different ways it could contaminate things, like it sounds right to me, but also we don't know. Like there could be somebody watching this that knows how this works and they're laughing at how dumb we are. Because
No.
yeah, that seems like it would be right, but it's not. I'm just saying we don't know. We should do some
They were
research.
testing nukes when nukes were invented in like what 42 or something
Well, but
40.
we didn't do any of them underground. They were all in the desert.
That's still not good. There's still
It's
like
worse. I think it's worse. I think that testing underground is probably better in some way. Overall, it would be better if we didn't test them at all. I'm just making the case that
yes.
it's probably better to do it underground than above ground.
Just everybody lay down your nukes. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And on that note, I've got a video for you.
Okay.
Up on the screen some new, rather terrifying research here from someone who tested the leading AI models. And the headline here from New Scientist says AIs cannot stop recommending nuclear strikes in war game simulations. So they set up these war game simulations where it was like, Claude versus ChatGPT or whatever. And in 95% of instances, the AIs in the simulated war would recommend using nukes. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, I saw that clip, and I have been wanting to talk AI, just so you know, because what's going on with Anthropic and OpenAI, Sam Altman, like there's a whole lot to talk about there, and maybe we'll get to it at the end of tonight. But that's one of the main parts is like we're trying to let AI have like an autonomous feature where it can just make a decision to who to kill and who not to kill, and that leads to down the road like they're in charge of our nukes and when to launch and when not to launch, and the fact that 95% of the time they're like, the easiest thing to do here would be just use a nuke, like that's scary. Though that's a whole
Very
different
scary.
conversation. Right now we still got idiots with their finger on the button. Later we're gonna have a computer that doesn't like humans with its finger on the button. Both are scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Then we get rid of nukes, get rid of AI.
Yep. I'm in agreement. Other quick thing I wanted to get to, your boy Mark Elias, everybody's favorite constitutional lawyer. Today, this is a tweet from him. The U.S. Supreme Court declines to hear two cases brought by the right-wing group PILF. I don't know who that is. One concerning access to voter roll records, and another addressing what constitutes reasonable efforts by states to maintain accurate voter rolls. So it seems like that's a win for Mark Elias today. But I haven't seen anybody else say this, so I'm probably the idiot here. I almost wish the Supreme Court would have taken up the case and then ruled on it. Because
Yeah.
now when the election comes, they're going to go, well, the Supreme Court never, and then it's going to be, well, now we have to go to the Supreme Court and we got to do it by the 14th or else the election's, not going to work, whatever it is. People are celebrating that they said we're not even going to hear this case, but I would have rather they gone on record and made a ruling on it, just so we all know we all know the rules going into the midterms.
That would be a more solid,
Yeah,
solid
but
footing for everybody.
Elias is saying it like it's a win for him, so I guess good, but yeah.
Okay. It's a half win. It would have been a bigger win if it would have been ruled on and voted for through the Supreme
Yeah.
Court as opposed to not ruling at all. But it's a little bit of a win, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
Last thing, real quick, Jeffrey Epstein. We haven't mentioned him in a couple weeks or a couple shows because of Iran. But did you see what went on with his New Mexico, the Zorro Ranch? Have you seen anything about that in the last 2 days?
In New Mexico?
Yeah.
Is this something else I was right about?
Oh no, no, you weren't right about this. But he had a ranch in New Mexico, the Zorro Ranch, and apparently, like there were maybe bodies buried out there, and we don't
Yeah,
know.
I brought this up.
Well, apparently the FBI like never even went and searched that place at all. So in 2019, New Mexico decided that they were gonna actually investigate the place. They were gonna get a search warrant and go in and see if there was cameras or whatever. And right before they were gonna do it, the feds asked the New Mexico police to halt its Epstein probe. In this story, apparently New Mexico officials said that the federal government said, "Hey, we're gonna do it. So give us all the information you have so far, and then once we do the search of the property, we'll give you the information. We'll give you that information, and we'll do information sharing." And it just went away. Like New Mexico stopped, and they never heard back from the federal government. It appears the federal government never did anything about it. They never went and looked at the place. And then right after that, it got bought by like a Texas millionaire who is right now running for office in Texas, like the state comptroller or something, and he is endorsed by Donald Trump. Small world. But
Small world. And so
yeah,
that was in 2019, you said?
2019 when Trump was president,
Okay.
Bill Barr was the head of he was the attorney general, and
Uh-huh.
the DOJ called New Mexico and said, "Stop! Don't go in there. Don't investigate. We're going to do it." And then it looks like they just never did. And they made sure that the place got sold to a friendly person. That's the allegedly. That's what it looks like happened. We know for sure the Fed told them to stop. The fact that a big money Republican donor was the one who ended up buying the place right after that is suspicious.
It is crazy how much you can get away with when you have power.
Power and money, buddy. Um, Anyhow, okay, so moving on. It's time to talk about the war. And you said you called it a war earlier, and I don't know how much coverage you've been watching, but there is some disagreement about whether or not this is a war or not. Um, Donald Trump keeps calling it a war, and then the White House is real quick to come out right afterward and say, it's not a war. This is a military operation, but it's not a war. And then, like 5 minutes later, Hegseth will come out and say, this is a war. And then, anyhow, if it's a war, then theoretically they have to go to Congress. If it's not a war, and that's what they keep trying to remind Trump it's not a war, it's a military operation. If it's a war, we have to go to Congress.
This is a war.
I thought about trying to like make a little compilation of all the different things people have said, and a half an hour ago, before we were going to start the show, I saw that CNN took the liberty of doing one for me, so I'd like to play this for you real quick.
And we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
I don't know if this is technically a war.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
This isn't a war. We haven't declared war.
The Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, said today this is a war.
We set the terms of this war from start to finish.
Nobody should classify this as war. It is combat operations.
War is hell and always will be.
Strategic strikes are not war.
I guess the Congress people that you saw in that clip are all convinced that it's not a war, because that would mean that they would have had to have done their job beforehand to authorize this. But it does seem like we're in a war.
Okay, there's missiles going back and forth. This is a war. It's not even, it's so crazy that it's not even a war with just America, Israel and America and Iran. It has spread into what? How many different countries now? 6, 7?
Up to 14. And
up to 14.
Today, our State Department sent out a notice to basically everybody in the Middle East. And they put out a notice saying that if you're in any one of these countries, get out now as fast as you can. Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, the West Bank, Gaza, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. What's interesting is in like 9 of those countries, the airports are all shut down because they've either been bombed or there's missiles flying overhead. So they waited until the war started. I'll call it a war. They waited till everything started, and now airports are shut down, and now they're telling people to get out of there. What? Isn't this a little late? Like, normally, wouldn't you have done this ahead of time?
Oh my gosh.
Give them too much credit.
So their best bet is to head north to Turkey if they're in any of those countries.
Well, and so I didn't pull anything on this, but Israel is now saying that Turkey is next, and Turkey is a NATO country, which is a whole new set of issues. But Israel has immediately turned its sights on Turkey, and also Lindsey Graham this weekend said that Cuba is next. So we're not going to mess with Iran for too long. We got to take care of Cuba next. So both America and Israel are immediately setting our sights on the next target, and we're not done with this one yet. And like over the weekend, there were a lot of people that were kind of declaring victory, and I think I told you, I was like, this has got a long, like Iraq. After 6 months in Iraq, it seemed like that was mission accomplished. George W. Bush flew on the aircraft carrier and had the big banner that said mission accomplished, and then it went south. So you don't know how this is going to turn out for a while now.
Right. Yeah. And everybody, like, well, not everybody, but there's quite a few people that I listened to today said, like, America can't even win this. There's no way we can win this.
There is no winning this. Like at the end of this, it's going to be like Afghanistan or Iraq, where even if things seem pretty good for a minute, like when we eventually pull out, it's going to go back to crap. Like those people over there, they don't like us. They don't like the West at all. And they don't like America.
Why wouldn't they like us?
And
we're such good people to them.
The thing is, the first 3 bombs that got dropped, which seemed like they were from Israel, they took out like government buildings and the Supreme Leader's house and all that. And if we would have stopped there, then there's a chance. But at this point now, we're bombing we're carpet bombing Tehran. So the people there are going to look at America as the great Satan. Like that's where we're at now. So yeah, there's no way. They asked Trump a whole bunch of, like, what is the objective? What are the military objectives? And he kind of says a whole bunch of different stuff. He can't stay on message. I actually have something on that in a minute. But the first real thing that has happened to us here in America, first of all, 6 soldiers now are dead. Okay. 6 soldiers are dead. We should get that out of the way. That's the most terrible thing that happened. I'm going to say a lot of other stuff tonight, but the most terrible thing that happened is loss of life, and also innocent victims' loss of life in Iran and in all these other Arab countries that are getting hit. So that's bad. For us in America that don't care about all that, the thing that happened today is gas prices jumped. We went from where I'm at, it was 241 last night and 299 this morning. I talked to some people in Texas. It seems like it jumped about 40 to 50 cents there. I don't know if you made it out of the house today and saw much, but it seems like around the nation, 40 to 60 cents is about the increase right now. We'll see how much higher it goes. That's gonna the polling
It's gonna affect everything.
Oh yeah, it's gonna affect the price of groceries and clothes and transportation. Yeah, that's energy costs. And also, like overall inflation has kind of stayed the same, but because the price of gas has come down and gas like weighs heavily into how they factor like the overall inflation. So from this next month, inflation suddenly going to be like 3.3 or 3.5, and it's going to look bad for Trump. So anyhow, the polling on this is kind of hysterical. So when a military operation or a war starts, like the polling is always the best at the very beginning. It only goes down from here. Like as time goes on, as more soldiers die, as gas prices go up. So for Afghanistan, they had pretty good support across the board. 92% overall, 96% of Republicans, and 90% of Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, that was just after 9/11.
Right after 9/11, okay? Now, 2 years later, we're going to Iraq. Iraq's got weapons of mass destruction. Overall, 72%, 93% of Republicans, 59% of Democrats. Here we are now going into Iran with 34%. And again, this is as high as it's going to get. It's only going to fall from here. 34% overall. Only 69% of Republicans. I don't know who. The 10% of Democrats that are for this are all the same religion, and it's not Christianity. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, they are on Bibi's side.
Yeah.
Anyhow. And then another poll, real quick. This was from right before the military action. There was a poll that was saying, should America basically attack Iran? 43% would approve of an attack, 27% disapprove. What's weird to me is 30% didn't have an opinion on it. And like every time I see these polls, I'm like, how is there someone with no opinion on this? But shockingly today, a guy that I work with that we're both friends with, I called him and I said, hey, while you're driving to work, look at the gas prices. I'm curious what they are compared to up here. And when he got there, he called me and told me. And then he was like, yeah, so I've been kind of trying to pay attention to this Iran thing. Like, what happened there? Did we bomb them or did they bomb us? And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, wow, what? Like,
you've been trying to pay attention. You don't know what happened.
It was really weird. Like I was trying to be kind of as well. Here's what happened. And I kind of told him, and like, I have to remind myself that a lot of people are flying around out there just oblivious. And they're like, oh yeah, we're at war. Yeah, Iran must be bad. Like we've built Iran up as the great Satan here in America. Like they're terrible. And we talked a little bit last time about the history of the Ayatollah and the fact that America has been messing with them for 47 years now. Like ever since the Ayatollah took over, like we've been trying to destroy him and that country and like get a puppet back in there that will be friendly to America. Kind of ridiculous. It kind of kills me though. Like the Ayatollah and like Christian evangelicals have a lot more in common than they want to believe. Like the Ayatollah was a religious cleric. Like he's almost like the Pope for Shia Muslims. That's why. So, and sidestepping us here, we're kind of always shocked that like, oh, a good part of Kuwait or Bahrain or whatever is really not like an American. So they're on Iran's side. Well, they're the Shia Muslims. The Shia Muslims look at him as a Pope. So even if they didn't live in Iran, he was the Ayatollah. Like. Also, he thought he was dead set on stopping the spread of Christianity in the Middle East. Like the fact that the U.S. and Britain put Israel there, like, and tried to colonize that to be a Christian or not a Muslim nation. Like that's what he spent his whole life fighting for. He wanted to spread Shia Islam, and Shia is the more conservative. It's the fundamentalist Islam. Okay, He wanted to spread that and prevent the spread of Christianity. You look at the people here in America that like are so concerned with making sure that Sharia law doesn't become like a thing here in America, and they're so afraid of Islam coming to America. Like they're kind of the same person. They're just on complete opposite sides, but like they have a lot in common. Anyhow, I spent a lot of time thinking about that today, but they have more in common than they'd like to think.
Yeah.
They probably respect each other's game. Anyhow, getting down to the action for the last couple of days. First of all, Iran had a tweet that I thought was comical. This is like their official military Twitter account said, We are carrying out Operation True Promise 4, nonstop to hold the pedophile American regime accountable and punish its regional Arabic-speaking mafia clans. So they're calling us pedophiles, and it's directly a shot at the Epstein files. So just thought that was funny.
Yeah, they're were they listening to our podcast? Because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what we said last time.
They might have. And we're going to get to reaction. There's a lot of different reaction on the Republican side of things that I have for tonight, but there's one that I got to show you right now just because I want to get you wound up, if you don't mind.
All right.
You're going to enjoy this.
The president's decision here is extraordinary. It's known as Operation Epic Fury, which I got to say is just awesome. The operation names from the administration, top notch. Midnight Hammer was great last year. Operation Epic Fury, yeah, man. Epic Fury. The Israeli operation is known as Operation Roaring Lion. That is because the operation last year was known as Operation Rising Lion.
Fuck Ben Shapiro.
I haven't seen him that happy since Trump got elected. He's been really down on Trump most of this term. Like, he's not been liking a lot of things Trump's doing. But, dude, Trump attacked Iran. Oh, Shapiro's back. Like, he is full on board on the Trump train again. Go Trump.
Do you think Shapiro has a direct line to Bibi?
Oh, I gotta believe so. I gotta believe they could be put in contact easily. I gotta think.
Yeah. If there's not a direct line, then it's a middleman that talks to him.
If Shapiro needed to talk to Bibi, it could be set up really quick. I have a feeling.
I actually recently heard that his numbers have tanked recently
because he's been trashing on Trump. Yeah, he's not. I gotta say, for most of this year, I was kind of impressed by Ben Shapiro. He was calling it like he saw it, and it wasn't popular. And a lot of the people that listen to the Daily Wire were upset with him because he was being negative about Trump. But now Trump did what Bibi wanted, and he's thrilled about it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because he's got 47 views. Oh, that was only 4 hours ago. 4 hours ago, 47,000 views, and then the one 9 hours got 262,000 views.
Yeah, he peaked a couple years ago, and I hate to even go down this road. He peaked when Candace Owens was on there, and then when she left, she's been on a mission to like destroy Israel and the Daily Wire, and she sees them as one and the same. So the amount of girls that we like went to high school with that watch Candace and believe Candace on stuff would shock you. Like, I see girls will put it in their like Facebook or Instagram stories, like a clip from Candace's show, and like Candace says some batshit crazy things, but like I think that she's part of the reason his numbers are down, and the other reason is because he's been negative on Trump.
Where is Candace on the war?
I'm so glad you asked. Thank you for setting me up for this. This guy's name's Yashar Ali. He's funny. He has funny tweets, but he's also very politically involved and has good comments all the time. But he tweeted this the other day. Gotta hand it to her. The devil works hard, but Candace Owens works harder. In the midst of a war, she keeps focused on business. Gotta keep Charlie looped in, given that she's rolling out a series on Erica right now, which we talked about her series on Erica. Candace's tweet. We will never forget that they murdered Charlie Kirk for this war, and he knew they were going to do it. He spent his final days mentally anguished, texting the very people who would ultimately betray him. In honor of Charlie, I stand with Israel. And she makes a good point.
I stand against Israel. Hold on, you said with.
Yeah, she stands against Israel. Yeah, that's why she left the Daily Wire, and it made her anti-Semitic in a hurry. But she does have a point.
That's not anti-Semitic. Israel is different than the Jewish people.
Okay.
Because I'm against Israel.
And I'd watch how you say that. I'm against the government of Israel. Say it that way.
Yeah. I'm against. Yeah. I'm against.
I believe that Israel has a right to exist. I don't like what their current government is doing. That's what I would say.
I'm not sure that it has the right to exist.
Oh, I think that the way that it was originally thought up, where it was kind of equal parts Palestinian and equal parts.
Didn't they steal land from somebody else to give it to them?
Well, that land was inhabited by Palestinians and Jews, and they lived peacefully side by side for I don't know how long. Like they did.
Okay.
So.
Well, then they have the right to some of that land.
Yeah,
but
literally.
Stop murdering children in your own country, I guess.
For literally thousands of years, like there was pockets of Israel, pockets of Jewish people, pockets of Palestinians, and everything was kosher. They were all good. And it wasn't until we came in and started drawing lines all over that place and saying, here's your part and here's your part. That's when things got messed up. So
yeah, I guess lines in the sand is where it goes wrong.
Yeah.
But it just makes me so mad at these people. Like we can't just live in harmony with each other.
Yeah, I mean, you always say, like, why can't we just get rid of all the nukes and live in peace? It's awesome. That's a utopia, but it's not going to happen. Like, you should get past that because we're not doing that.
But it's so stupid what we're doing. It's
Yeah,
so fucking dumb. We're all so fucking dumb. The entire world is dumb.
I get it, but also it's not happening. I'm sorry. I'm
Love
sorry
your
to break it to you.
neighbor. Love
Yep.
your neighbor. Isn't that a Jesus quote? Love thy neighbor.
Yes.
That's a 10 commandment.
Well,
Love
you know
thy
what?
neighbor as yourself. The Muslims are our neighbors. The Jews are our neighbor. Like we all need to be at one. Is the
I
Ten
get it.
Commandments an Old Testament thing?
I believe so. Yeah, that was Moses coming down the mountain with the tablets.
Yeah.
That's Old
Yeah.
Testament.
So
Yeah.
that's
So all three religions have the Old Testament involved. So all three religions should have the Ten Commandments.
love thy neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, that's a whole. We could talk about that later another time. But all Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are all part of the Abrahamic religions, and
Yeah.
they all ran together till a certain point, and then Christianity and Islam split off, and then a little bit. Christianity split off from Judaism, and then 700 years later, Islam split off from that. But like, if you trace it back to 2,000 years ago, like Islam, Judaism, Christianity were all the same thing. It's a very fun, interesting study to do.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and what she said about Charlie Kirk, though, I do have to say, like before Operation Midnight Hammer, which was in June, like he was lobbying hard not to attack Iran. He went to the White House and met with Trump and tried to convince Trump not to attack Iran. And then Trump did it anyway. And for the next 2 months, Charlie was pretty down on Israel and how America always does what Israel wants him to do. And then he got shot. But that was his last big passion was for us to stop attacking Middle East countries on behalf of Israel. So she has a point. She's batshit crazy, but she has a point on that.
There's something I like Charlie Kirk for.
Yeah, and Candace Owens because she's trying to.
Candace Owens, yeah. Stop these stupid wars, man. This is so dumb.
Yeah. So, on the point, real quick, we lost 6 soldiers total over the weekend, and Trump didn't feel the need to talk to the nation until this morning. Now, he released 2 videos over the weekend that were really sloppily edited. Like, there were hard edits in it to where you could see. Kind of interesting. Also, he wasn't wearing a tie and he was wearing a ball cap. And I'm down with the president being casual, but when you're coming on to address the fact that, at the time it was 3 soldiers had lost their lives, like put on a tie. What also kills me is right after he shot that video, he went into a fundraising event where he then put on a tie. Put on the tie. That's anyhow.
Ooh,
and I'm not normally a wear a tie guy, but that's a serious give that moment some respect. Don't wear a ball cap and no tie, and then immediately put on a tie for your donors. That's some bullshit. Just gonna say.
Total
but we lost 3 F-15s also in Kuwait yesterday, and actually it was this morning. When I saw the first video, I thought it was AI because I've seen it. There's been a couple different like videos of our aircraft carriers getting hit by missiles that are totally AI. And you got to be on the watch out for that. But when I saw this video, I watched it 2 or 3 times, and I was like, "That's AI." It didn't really happen. Have you seen it yet? Have it fallen out of the sky? I always think when a plane crashes, it's going to come in like a missile almost really fast. And this thing was in a flat spin, just coming down like a pancake, spinning around. Here, I got the video for you.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they have like, if it's going down, it propels some kind of force to where it keeps it even so it doesn't go straight down and hit it like 4 million miles an hour. Because that seemed very slow, didn't it?
It was just falling out of the sky. And I don't know if you noticed, but right at the beginning of the video, you see like a puff of smoke come up from the top of the plane. And
That
then
looked like a parachute to me.
You could barely see 2 parachutes. So both pilots got out. If you blink, you would miss it. But both pilots got out. So I saw that video and I was like, I don't buy that. There's no way they shot down one of our F-15s. So I kind of poo-pooed it. And then a little bit later, I see the Associated Press has a story. The U.S. military says Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 American F-15E Strike Eagles during combat, which that seems almost impossible. Like our allies shot down 3 of our jets. And then this is from the Pentagon. It's a press release. 3 U.S. F-15s involved in friendly fire incident in Kuwait. Pilots are safe. And it goes on to talk about it. What it turns out, all these countries are using our surface to air missiles and like air defense systems, and our planes emit like a certain signal that's like encoded that our air defense is supposed to know that's our plane. So this is all really goofy. Like this shouldn't, according to pilots and former commanders that were on the news all day today, like this is almost unheard of that this would happen. This was sloppy as heck. So
And then Iran came out and said that they were responsible for one of them, right?
they said they shot down one of them, but they all went down over Kuwait, and I don't know that Iran right now has the capability to shoot down a plane. Kuwait's all the way on the other side of the Persian Gulf. Like that, it's not like it's right next door. Like that would be
right.
So I don't know why we'd make it up that our ally shot it down, but that's a little weird to me. We finally did see Trump live today, and first of all, the video from the other night or the pictures that got released of him sitting in the Situation Room at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Somebody did a still shot of it, and I didn't notice at the time, but he looks like shit.
Yeah, he's old.
Everybody said and Joe Rogan says this all the time, but being president ages everybody. Barack Obama looks so young, and 8 years later he looks so old. It didn't age Trump at all. Something's happened to Trump in the last little bit because he looks not with it right now.
It's the Epstein files.
Stress. I think stress will age you better than anything else. But also, he turns 80 this summer. Like this June, he turns 80. We're having a UFC match for his birthday, so
yeah, I forgot about that.
On the lawn of the White House. I'm still waiting to see how this is going to
with 100,000 people.
Yeah. So, but then Trump today actually held a live event, and they phrased it like he was going to address the nation about the Iran war, and he really didn't say much about it. Like it was real quick, but then it turned out it was more of a Medal of Honor ceremony, and he gave a Medal of Honor posthumously to somebody's son who had died. I didn't pay attention to it. I'm sorry. I give it all the respect.
Where he's talking about putting Ted Cruz in the Supreme Court?
No, that was over the weekend.
Oh my
He
gosh.
also at one point.
Idea.
At one point, he turned and just started talking about the curtains, and he was like, "Yeah, he's like, you pull those curtains to the side right now, you'll just see a big hole in the ground, but after that, you're going to see the new ballroom." And he went from three, or at the time it was 4 dead soldiers. Later it became 6, but at that time it was 4. And he mentioned that, and then immediately pivoted to the curtains, which was very Biden-esque.
Today they said, "Oh well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored." I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. See that nice drape? When that comes down right now, you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains because I built many a ballroom. I believe it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world. And when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly. When I hear that sound, that beautiful sound behind me, it means money, so I like it. But my wife isn't thrilled.
A lot of photographers noticed afterward, that the bruising on the back of his hand, it seems to be spreading.
Oh, no. Whoa.
That doesn't look right. I don't know what that is. It kind of looks like the back of his hand.
He's got the measles.
I don't think it's measles. But he wears so much makeup that I wonder if his whole face looks like that. And they only put the makeup on to here, but really he's just splotchy and red everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely, the makeup's covering up a lot of something, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know. That just doesn't look good. I don't know what that is. And I'm not trying to say anything other than that looks not good. And between that and his hand,
somebody smarter than us will come out and tell us what that is.
So the back of his hand and his swollen ankles, is that all circulation type stuff, or I don't know? Maybe that's the aspirin. The aspirin causes issues. Maybe that's I don't know.
No, him and Hegseth were hugging it out so hard that he got bruised on his neck.
Honestly, somebody strangled him. Maybe Melania got pissed at him and strangled him.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. I got to do a quick pivot now that I've mentioned Melania. The UN Security Council is one of the more serious things as far as a organization. The Security Council is the important. I think it's 8 countries, and we're in it. And Trump, every now and then, they'll send somebody who's not our UN delegate to be the head to lead the Security Council for the day. It's kind of a prestigious thing to get to do, and it's always somebody who deserves to do it. I want to show you who Trump sent today.
With the Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite Ms. Rosemary DiCarlo, Undersecretary General of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs, to participate in this meeting. It is so decided. The Security Council will now begin its consideration of item 2 of the agenda. I now give the floor to Ms. Rosemary DiCarlo.
Does she have any
foreign experience whatsoever?
Yeah, is she supposed to be there? I mean, I know she has an accent, which how long has she been here? She's been here for like 30 years.
Since like 95, 2000, somewhere in that range, I think.
I mean, I know people that have only been here for like 5 years and they have better English, they speak better English than her.
What's weird is people make jokes that this is like the Make-A-Wish administration. Like, hey, Trump wants a prize. Somebody hurry up and get him a prize. You know, like whatever he wants. Melania wants to be a movie star. Somebody, okay, Jeff Bezos, make her a movie star. And now it's like,
I want to meet Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Melania wants to run a meeting. What meetings do we have coming up? Oh, the United States or the United Nations Security Council. Let her run that one. Like, so Biden at one point had his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, run a cabinet meeting, and Republicans were flipping out about it. And I actually agreed with them. I really, at the time, I was like, why is the first lady running a cabinet meeting? That's not her job. So I saw what, I didn't get outraged about it, but also they had a point, and I was really willing to admit that. Why is the first lady running a United Nations Security Council meeting? Anyhow, I don't have anything else to say on that. But
who usually goes to those?
So normally our representative is what's that guy's name? I forgot his name. He was originally he originally had a different title and he wasn't working out, so they wanted to fire him, but he didn't want to actually fire him, so they moved him to the UN representative. What is it? Mike Walls, I believe.
Okay.
Waltz. Anyhow, that was a whole funny story too, because man, I'm forgetting names like crazy. The girl that's a congresswoman from New York was supposed to get that job, and she got the shaft, and he sent her back to Congress. Anyhow, it was a whole funny story back then.
Oh my gosh.
Elise Stefanik is the girl. Sorry, she's awful. So it was hysterical when it happened to her. Anyhow,
but I mean, what are the other people that have been put in that position for an intermediate time period or whatever, however it works?
It's never the first lady.
It's never the first lady. Okay.
In Trump's first term, it was Nikki Haley, who was a presidential candidate. She was a governor of South Carolina.
Okay.
That made sense. Mike Walls was a congressman, but he was on like the foreign relations committees and stuff, so he had some experience, so he makes sense there. Melania doesn't make sense there, but okay. Moving on. Aside from whether or not this is actually a war or not, the other thing that seems to be confusing the heck out of everybody, including me, is what are our objectives in this war? Is it regime change, or is it to basically eliminate their nuclear weapons program? Trump has been all over the map, and on Sunday, he spent all day calling different reporters, and he was talking to them for like 5 to 10 minutes apiece. And like Jake Tapper was one of them, Jonathan Karl was another, and they said they were just like sitting there doing their normal thing on a Sunday, and the phone rang, and it was Trump, and he wanted to talk to them about so he was like floating different talking points to see what would catch on. He was trying out new material on the press. It was really weird. He had a couple points said that they wanted to do regime change, and then the White House came out midday and was like, this is not about regime change. Like, we're not doing that. This is about like getting rid of a threat, basically, is what they said. And then right after they put that out, Jonathan Karl tweeted out, President Trump told me tonight the U.S. had identified possible candidates to take over Iran, but they were killed in the initial attack. The attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates, Trump told me. It's not going to be anybody that we were thinking of because they're all dead. Second or third place is dead. So what he's saying there, though, is that we did have like an idea of like, well, if we take out Khomeini, then maybe this person could take over and they would be nicer to America. So they were giving that some thought, and Israel killed all of them with the initial blast. So all the possible replacements. So anyhow, so he's confirming there that the idea was regime change. Now, the White House again came out today and said it's not regime change. So it's not a war and it's not regime change. except for every time Trump talks, because every time he talks, he says that it is a war and it is regime change. So,
And Hegseth too. Hegseth was saying it's a
except
war
yes,
100 times on his last speech.
yeah, and also it seems like Trump's always looking for an off ramp, and it seems like Bibi Netanyahu convinced him that, hey, let's bomb them for 4 or 5 days, and then they'll be in a really weak negotiating point, and we can get a better deal. Like it seems like at some point that got floated to him. I don't know how you say this. Ynet, it's a major paper in Israel. Ynet is reporting. It says summary of the Ynet report that's going around. The U.S. planned for a 4 to 5 day operation that would weaken Iranian negotiating position, allowing a deal more favorable to the U.S. Yesterday, the U.S. reached out to Tehran through Italian mediators requesting a ceasefire. The Iranians rejected this. So Trump really thought that he could get away with hitting them for a couple days and then just say, it's like the 12-day war, just saying, okay, we're done, no more fighting. And no, Iran learned in the 12-day war that by doing that, they just let Israel and America go back and restock and then hit them again. What are we, 8 months later, 6 months later, something like that? And also the math for Iran, the math is way better than it is for America. It costs $35,000 to make one of those Shahed drones, and it costs $4 million to make an interceptor to knock it down. The interceptors are smart. Like they have to be able to find it in the air, track it, kill it. The Shahed drone's a dumb glide bomb. Like, so it's basically 100-to-1 cost ratio. For every $35,000 they send, we have to spend $4 million to knock it out of the air. So
wow.
So for that, and also it's being reported everywhere that we are running low on interceptors already. Like we used almost all of them during the 12-day war to defend Israel, and like so we didn't rebuild that much. And also you can only build so many of those a year. Like they're hard to build. There's a lot of like computer electronics in it. You can't mass produce those. Whereas the Shahed drones, you can pump out, even like cruise missiles, you can pump out a lot of them real quick. Interceptors are a lot harder. So we're about to hit a problem in the next, and they're saying like we have 4 to 5 days at this rate. We have 4 to 5 days of interceptors left, and then we're going to be pretty much out at that point.
Again, why is Israel controlling the United States? Why is Israel involved in like almost every war? What?
Yeah.
This just doesn't make any sense to me.
And Netanyahu said, and I didn't pull this clip, but he said yesterday that basically because Donald Trump is the greatest ally Israel's ever had, he never thought this day would be possible, but because of Donald Trump, something he's been dreaming of for 40 years has now happened. We've taken out the Ayatollah, blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, no other American president would do this for you, but of course Trump would. Cool. Glad you said it out loud because we were all thinking it, and thank you for confirming it for us.
I got a short little sidetrack here. You know what else? You know what else Netanyahu said recently?
I can't wait.
The third objective we set out to do is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. That requires de-radicalization. That's a difficult word, but it means re-education. It means a change. It's been done in other parts of the world.
Is that recent, or is that? I feel like that was from a while ago.
I thought it was recent. It could be from a while ago, but either way.
I'm not sure on that one. But either way, yeah, and also Chef Jose Andres, who runs the World Central Kitchen, that they always show up whenever there's a famine or anything going on. He said that now that they've shut the Rafah crossing to Israel, he can't get more food in to his volunteers that are feeding the people of Palestine. And he said that I guess he's making pleas to the Israeli government that they have like 48 hours of food left and then they're going to run out. And apparently Israel doesn't give a shit. So
no, they don't give a shit. And you know who else? So I had to look it up because I've heard about these re-education camps and these re-education programs in other countries. Here's a list of some of the countries that have done this.
Okay.
China, North Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Soviet Union, South Korea.
Countries where they don't want to have any dissident voices. They don't want anybody saying anything bad about the government. So they got to get everybody on the same page that the supreme leader is awesome and you love it here.
Yeah.
That's what makes America great, is that you can talk crap about your government and your president. And you can burn the flag. I think that's dumb and I don't want anybody to do it, but that's what makes America great. And a lot of these other authoritarian countries, they don't want any voices that are going against the message. And that's where you have what do they call it? Re-education camps.
Yeah. Yeah. Re-education camps. You know what I've had issue with recently, or it's been a while that I've kind of noticed this, that like Remember in school, we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance every single day?
Yeah.
That is very, very, oh, I don't even know what the word is, but I was gonna say militaristic, but it's very,
Very North Korea.
yes, okay, very
Yeah.
North Korea.
So here's the
It,
thing. I've had that thought run through my head, but I wouldn't say I'm all the way there. But there are certain things that you look back on now with just a different perspective. And it's like, oh, we're making the kids like, I guess because they're pledging allegiance to the country, the flag, but to really to the country. That if they were like in North Korea, they're pledging allegiance to the supreme leader, to Kim Jong Un, and that's the major difference. Now, if suddenly Donald Trump came out tomorrow and said that he wants the kids every morning to pledge him, that would be crossing a
Pledge
line.
allegiance to Donald Trump.
Yeah, and but I see what you're saying, and I'm like I'm halfway to where you are on that. I just think it's a little odd, but I don't have a problem with it.
Yes, like you said, it's very North Korea, but it's also,
Yeah.
yeah, you shouldn't have to pledge allegiance. Like, what other countries do that? I bet, I guarantee you, none of Europe does that.
I don't know. That's I don't know the answer to that.
And who are the freest countries in the world? Europe.
You're
Europe.
assuming a lot. Who do do you? I can't spell sometimes. European.
I don't know, man.
Do European countries have a Pledge of Allegiance? I'm having trouble typing. European countries generally do not have a daily school-based Pledge of Allegiance like the United States. While oaths of loyalty are required for specific roles, such as politicians, military, or new citizens, there is no widespread mandatory daily recitation of a pledge in schools or public life. You are correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's indoctrination, is what it is.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, and Israel does it with their military, right? Like, once you hit a certain age in Israel, you have to join the military. Every citizen has to be in the military.
By your logic of what you just said, when was the last time you went to a professional sports game?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we all do that, and I never really think much of it. I take my hat off, I put it over my heart. We all the Star Spangled Banner is what it is. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I never think that's weird, but that's kind of the same, right?
It's still the same, yeah. Yeah.
And nobody's making you do it, but if you sit there and don't, if like say you stayed seated, the looks you would get, it'd be uncomfortable.
But here's the thing is you don't even think about it because you've been
indoctrinated,
brainwashed to do it over and over and over again as a school student, 5 days a week, going to school. You stand up, you do the Pledge of Allegiance, Star Spangled Banner comes on.
It's one of those where if we didn't do it our whole lives, if it wasn't a thing we've been brainwashed on, and randomly somebody's like, "Hey, the hockey game's about to start. Let's say we love America together." Like you'd be like, "Why? Why would we do that?" But we've all been raised on, okay, the game's fixing to start. Take off your hat and show some respect to the country, and then we'll watch the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm with you. I hear what you're saying.
But you're right. If you don't do it, you're the only one not doing it. People are going to be like, who is this Nazi? Who is this?
So we both grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth area, and when you go to a Dallas Stars hockey game, the word "star" is in the national anthem, or the national anthem 2 times. And at a Stars game, both times it's "star." Everybody's standing there totally quiet, and then the whole crowd will go "star," and it's if you've never been there and if nobody warns you about it, it'll scare the shit out of you. It's like, oh my god, what if 40,000 people all at once just yelled "star"? And if you went to like a Texas Rangers game, there would always be a couple of knuckleheads in the crowd that would do "star" real loud, and you'd kind of get a chuckle.
Yeah.
I took my cousins who were older than me. I was probably in high school, and my cousins were in their mid-20s, and they had both served in the Air National Guard. They had both been deployed to like the Persian Gulf, so they'd served. And when that part came, I was trying to impress them, so I did the "star," and they gave me a death look. And then as soon as it was over, they were like, "What the fuck was that disrespect?" And I was like, "Oh," and I tried to explain to them what they do at Stars games, and they were just like, "No, like you don't disrespect the anthem." So I was like, "All right, got it, cool." Like they take it seriously. Anyhow,
disrespect an anthem.
You're disrespecting the country is what it is.
The country.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Anyhow, I forgot to cover this earlier, but real quick, the 3 planes that got shot down, all 6 of the people inside the planes got out through parachute. They're all fine. One of them had his hand kind of mangled. I didn't pull that picture because it was kind of disgusting. But the pictures and videos started coming out. First of all, one of them was a female, and she was standing there like she had just gotten up and was standing there laughing. And cell phone cameras are everywhere, even in the Middle East. And as these people were going up to her, they were like, "Hey, are you okay? Are you good?" And she was like laughing. She's like, "Yeah. Whew, I'm good." Like you like, oh my God, like she just got ejected. When you get ejected, I want to say it's like 7 or 8 G's. And like she was good. A couple of the other scenes were a little bit scarier. There is one picture of the pilot standing there and a guy standing in front of him with a metal pipe over his head, like threatening him. And apparently the story is that they didn't know if he was an Iranian pilot or not. And then once they realized he was American, they stopped. There's another video that's more interesting, and I don't speak whatever language they're speaking, but according to the internet, which could be wrong, they've got this guy in the back of an SUV with the hatchback open, and he looks like he's a little nervous about what's going on, and there's a lot of people arguing in some Islamic language. And the translation supposedly is that they're arguing about like, hey, should we call the police? Should we call the Americans? Or should we keep him? Like, should we handle this guy ourselves? And they did decide to turn him back into America. I did pull that clip for you just because I want you to kind of see I don't want to say fear, but the discomfort on his face while this is going on.
Okay.
Police? Yes. 1 minute. 1 minute. لا لا شبه الدبة 1 minute 1 minute 1 minute
Yeah, he looks like, was he injured or what?
I think that might have been the one whose left hand got messed up. And there's some different pictures from different angles, and his hand he lost some digits.
He looks crammed in the back of that car, and he's just kind of
just sitting there trying. Well, he's probably going, "What the hell are they saying?" Like, "Oh my God!" Like, and like I said, all 6 made it back to American hands untouched. But with that one, apparently there was some discussion about whether, and that back all the way to the Ayatollah Khomeini, like. There are populations in each one of these countries that are Shia Muslims, and they're really mad at America right now for killing the Ayatollah. Like they're not going to get over that for a little bit. And even though Kuwait, for example, their government is cool with us and they let us have a base there, a certain percentage of their population is Shia and is not. They're really unhappy that America's there right now. And like that's a whole different thing that like I don't have a lot pulled on, but they've always said like, oh, the biggest thing with a war with Iran is that there's sleeper cells all over America. I'm sure you've heard that term. Now, if they are here, they should be popping up any minute now. We had there, I think it was in DC. There was a mass stabbing over the weekend, and when I heard mass stabbing, I was like, oh, that's going to be like an Islamic terrorist. And I haven't heard anything else about that. So maybe it turned out it wasn't.
Today there was a shooting in Austin.
That was yesterday. That was Saturday night. There was a shooting in Austin.
Oh, that was Saturday. Okay.
That guy was Senegalese, I believe. But he had on a sweatshirt that said "Property of the Ayatollah," and he had a shirt under that had the Iranian flag. He walked into a bar with an AR and only killed 5 or 6 people. I think he wounded 14. I'm always amazed when somebody walks into a crowded place with an AR. The number of casualties is always way lower than I would expect it would be. But he
he injured 14, which means.
So he shot about 20 people, and then I think the cops killed him as soon as they got there with guns. But anyhow, I told my wife after seeing that Austin story, I was just like, hey, I'm not trying to scare you, but like be a little bit more observant for the next couple of weeks when you're out and about, because you never know. We've all heard about these sleeper cells forever, but a combination of the gas prices rising, just general inflation, and then if there starts to be some domestic. I think that Trump thinks that that'll help galvanize people, we got to get Iran. I don't think it will. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? So maybe I'll be wrong on that, but.
Oh, man. So he's awakening
world.
Sleeper cells.
Could be. Hegseth had a press conference this morning with General Raisin Cane, as Trump would say. I didn't pull much from it. I pulled one clip. The key thing is that Hegseth right at the beginning said, our goal was not regime change, but the regime sure ended up changing, didn't it? And he tried to be like a little funny like that. And it's like, okay, I mean, yeah, you blew up the top 40 people in the government, so clearly regime change is going to happen. But this is, if you remember, the Department of Defense had them fill out a pledge or a non-disclosure type thing.
Yeah.
That basically, and most of the real news agencies refuse to sign it. So now the people that show up to these Pentagon briefings are right-wing internet journalists. Somehow one reporter from NBC was in there. And I don't know if maybe they signed the pledge or whatever, but there was one real reporter in there along with a lot of MAGA people. They got to ask 2 or 3 questions, and every time Hegseth was like getting more and more just mad. Like, he was offended that they dared question him when all the other questions were softballs. And I pulled one of them just because the answer is not even really that important, but you can see the disdain on his face that he's having to answer this.
Oh, God.
The American people also want to know what they're sending their men and women to war for. Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks? I mean, we're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we are very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other presidents, about the foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know we have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders, Admiral Cooper.
Yeah, he's kind of. There's a video of Roger Stone giving a deposition once where he's just so mad at the person asking him questions, and he's like grinding his teeth, and he can barely get through it because he wants to scream at him. And Hegseth reminded me of that for a lot of this morning. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah. And that was a real good question. Her question was, the American public is confused. Like, what is the objective here? And they haven't like. Trump keeps saying one thing, then the White House says another, then Trump will speak again, then and it's like they're not all on the same page. Like, they all need to have a meeting about what our objective is and then tell America and everybody be on the same page.
I know what the objective is.
Oil? It seems like it's oil.
Well, that could be part of it, but to keep Trump out of the Epstein files.
We've
talked about this.
A great distraction. This has all proved to be a fantastic distraction. So
that's the whole objective.
Yeah.
For Trump going to war. I don't know. I know what Israel wants that land, I think.
So I don't think they want that land. Now, and this is getting back to the history of, Iran and the Iran-Israel conflict. Iran, the leader of Iran is a Shia Muslim, and like 95% of Iran is Shia Muslims, okay? Mm-hmm. The Palestinians in Gaza are Sunni Muslims, and they're a lot more laid back. They're not as fundamentalist about everything. Normally, those two groups don't really see eye to eye or get along, but Iran has decided that they are going to back the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. And they're doing it kind of this whole like, hey, Islam is supposed to look out for all Muslims, so it doesn't matter if you're Shia or Sunni, we're going to have your back. And they're trying to do that to like gain support throughout the Middle East. That's what they say. The real reason is just that they hate Israel. They view Israel as an extension of Western colonization, like imperialism and colonization, and the fact that the West just took part of their land, which also the fact that Jerusalem is there plays a huge factor into all this. And for all the religions, Jerusalem's the holy city, and Britain and America basically just gave it to the Jews and kicked everybody else out. So they
Trump solidified it with
moving the capital and the embassy to Jerusalem. So, but they're supporting the Sunni Muslims of Gaza, and they say it's because they're helping all Muslims, but really they just want to be a thorn in the side of Israel. Like that's the whole goal here. And by doing that, they didn't like invent Hamas and Hezbollah by any means, but they realized like, oh shit, there's two groups in there that are fighting against Israel. This is good for us. So they've made sure to assist them in any way they can, monetarily and with weapons. So they are totally backing two terrorist groups that are constantly focused on making Israel's life hell. And it's a marriage of convenience, really. Like there are all the people over there in Gaza, the Hamas, and they're all Sunni, Israel Shia. Normally they wouldn't get along, but for the unified purpose of fucking with Israel, they'll make it work. It's pretty much how it goes.
Okay.
So anyhow.
Yeah.
I got one more serious video, then I want to have a little bit of fun real quick. But Marco Rubio, first of all, everybody has been making the claim that Israel drug us into this war, right? That here we are doing another war on behalf of Israel.
Sure.
Also, if you remember, I think it was Senator Markwayne Mullen, maybe who we showed a tweet from last time, but he was saying that, actually it was Scott Jennings on CNN, but he had a tweet where he said that he just got intel that we found out that Iran was about to preemptively attack us. So we had to preemptively attack them before they preemptively attacked us. Do you remember that from last time?
Yeah.
So reporting came out, and even apparently the Pentagon briefed members of Congress and told them, like, no, there was no report of that. Rubio came out to clean this up today, and in doing so, he really fed into the whole we are doing whatever Israel wants. Check out the clip of Rubio real quick, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
So what he said there is real important. He basically said there were two options that we could have done. We could have either joined with Israel and struck them, or if we sat back and just had Israel attack them, they were going to strike us anyway. So we might as well have struck them. That's basically what he said. Yeah. When there is a third option here, we could have told Israel, don't do it, or else we're going to pull our fund. We're not going to give you money, weaponry. We're not going to keep letting you be on the gravy train. We could have told them, no, do not attack Iran. That's not even a possibility in Rubio and Trump's mind. Israel said they're going to do it, and he is right there. I want to make that very clear. If Israel would have attacked Iran, Iran would have retaliated against both Israel and all of our air bases in the region. Because the way Israel sees it, the United States and Israel are one. They're allies. They are together. If one of them is attacking us, both of them are attacking us. They believe that.
The way Iran sees it is we're one.
Yeah,
which is kind of messed up.
Because what happened way back in the 12-Day War, we hit them with the 3 bombs to take out their nuclear facilities, but then they were just striking back at Israel that whole time, and we sat there using all of our interceptors trying to shoot down their missiles and protect Israel. So the way they look at it, if you're attacking one of them, you're attacking both of them. So he's right there. But again, one of the options is we could have just told Israel, no. If you do this, we are not going to come to your rescue. And we could have made that known to everybody. We've told Iran not to attack them, and if they do it, they're on their own. That's all. That's what we could have done. But that's not even a potential option. There's no way we were going to do that. That's the bullshit.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was listening to the UK today, and they at first they were like they condemned us from making this attack. But now, since they're attacking all these other countries, they're on board.
So
is that what you took up from that?
One of their air bases got hit. So Iran, and I think that Iran has made one very serious miscalculation here. They thought that if they started hitting all these other countries, it would make these Arab countries turn to America and say, hey, you have to stop the war. They're hitting us. And they'd start petitioning us to stop. And it's actually backfired. It's getting more people on America's side that something has to be done about Iran. So there's just a straight up miscalculation on their part. I don't think it's going to be what ends all this, but it is hurting them right now. And I think they're realizing that. One real weird thing that happened is the largest Saudi Arabian oil field got hit by a missile the other day and is on fire. That's one of the reasons gas prices jumped up so much. And it seemed at first very clear that Iran had done it intentionally. And then Iran came out with an official statement and said, we have told our brothers in Saudi Arabia that wasn't us. We did not hit them with and it's like, oh yeah, sure you didn't. You know, who's buying that? But then Saudi Arabia came out and said it looks like what might have happened was that one of their missiles got intercepted by an interceptor, and then the debris fell to the ground and exploded. So yes, it wasn't the target, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of seemed cool. And then later on in the day, a new theory started emerging. And it didn't start here, but one person was on the case immediately afterward. I guess, honestly, he probably recorded it.
Alex Jones.
No, you're close. Maybe it did originate with this person. I'm not 100% sure, but this is now kind of taken off online. I want you to hear this out.
It really, really hurts these countries. And Israel wanted to hurt these countries. That's the point. Wanted to hurt these countries. Wanted to sow chaos and disorder because they are rivals of Israel. So it's probably hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night In Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. And they've succeeded.
I hate his laugh. I just hate his fucking laugh.
I'll say this. I still don't like Tucker, but recently Tucker and Marge are two people that recently I'm like, like I agree with that. But Tucker just said there that it's not being reported, but in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, Mossad agents were arrested that were suspected of trying to set off bombs in the country to make it look like Iran was hitting these countries, to make those countries get mad at, to basically ignite a whole war throughout the Middle East. I think it's going to be real easy to tell if that's true or not. Like, shouldn't we be finding out real soon if those countries really arrested Mossad agents? That, like, if Tucker's lying, we'll find out real soon that he's lying. And if he's not lying, then that's a wrinkle about all this that we really have to discuss. Like, that's, that's interesting. I don't know. It's fucked up, first of all, but also, like, now, like, Israel has been making great improvements in their relations with a lot of these countries, Saudi Arabia being one of them. Like, supposedly Saudi Arabia is on the verge of officially recognizing Israel as a country, which will be a huge deal when it happens. And the Trump administration has been working really hard to make that happen. But if it turns out now that Mossad agents were trying to sabotage maybe I'm just speculating, but oil fields or something like that, maybe high-rise buildings to make it look like it was a missile, but it was really a bomb, that's going to upend everything. Like that, I told you last time that World War III ain't going to happen here, but like that's one way that, like, okay, that's going to increase everything going on over there. I don't even know what the right words for it are. So,
because then it would be everybody versus Israel.
And America's not going to stand for that. Now all the work that Trump has put in Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Kuwait, like all that goes away, because if that happens, we're on Israel's side.
Wait, but hold on. Isn't like if Israel gets demolished, isn't that the beginning of end times?
There is some Christians that believe that.
Is that what Mike Huckabee wants?
Maybe Mike Huckabee's behind this. I don't know.
He's just trying to get end times. He wants the apocalypse to happen.
You could be onto something. I don't know, but I think the bottom line is Tucker could be full of shit there. He might have totally wrong information.
Yeah.
I think we need that's a question I want the media to jump on right now. Like, what's going on there?
Tucker's an interesting character because he actually gets information from sources that are not like that are probably far superior than what Fox News and CNN are getting. That, or he's actually willing to release the information.
Do you know who JD Vance's chief of staff is? I think it's chief of staff.
Oh, we talked about this. Yeah. It's his college roommate or something.
No, it's Tucker Carlson's son.
Oh.
He's not his chief of staff. He's something, right? He's one of the main people under JD Vance. I think his name is Buckley Carlson or something like that.
Buckley, yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to make sure I get this right. Tucker Carlson's son. It wanted to autocomplete JD Vance. Yeah, his son Buckley hired to join JD Vance's team. He looks kind of like Tucker too.
Did you watch that Mike Huckabee interview?
Yeah, the whole thing.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but there was a lot of stuff in there where it just makes me not like Huckabee even more than I didn't like him already. Tucker pressed him on that one issue where it was like, well, aren't you for anti-abortion? Aren't you anti-abortion? And doesn't Israel allow abortions?
I don't remember that part. I might have been tuning out through that part of it.
Yeah, and he kept trying to push his feet to the fire, and Huckabee is just so pro-Israel that he doesn't even care about that. Like
it's one of those where the only thing you can be left thinking is like, clearly they have dirt on him. Like, and I hate to be like that, but it's like, why else? Real quick, Buckley Carlson is the deputy press secretary for JD Vance. So anyhow, so if you always wonder, like, man, how does Tucker have all this insight? I think it's pretty damn obvious. And there's all kinds of talk that JD is he's trying to get ahead of the whole people turning against Israel thing. So when he runs in 2028, it's not going to be as such a pro-Israel guy. And I think a lot of that's influenced by the relationship with Tucker Carlson is my main point there. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. But Tucker, even that, Tucker, he went to Russia and interviewed with Putin.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, there's not a lot of journalists that have that access.
Which Putin like made fun of him to his face. Basically said that like he was a circus of a reporter or a clown of a reporter, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And Tucker kind of just didn't catch what he was saying. But anyhow, that's just weird. I just want to point that out. I want some answers to that whole, is the Mossad trying to frame Iran for blowing something up like that? If that's true, that's a huge deal. I hate to give Tucker the benefit of the doubt, but in my mind, I'm like, Tucker wouldn't have said it if it wasn't true. And maybe I'm way wrong on that, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I feel like when he was on Fox News, he was lying on his ass all the time. But now I feel like he's kind of, I don't know if he's telling the truth at all, but it seems like he's actually kind of telling the truth these days, right?
Yeah, I agree. And there's one other person that I would have said a year ago is batshit crazy, but I find myself agreeing with all the time. I have a clip of her that I'd like to share with you.
And then we have the president, who, by the way, Megan, this really needs to be said. Donald Trump has said repeatedly on camera and in interviews, he doesn't think he's going to heaven. Well, I want to ask a question, a serious question. What is in his mind? What is his mental state? If he doesn't think he's going to heaven and he is a man towards the end, he's in the fourth quarter, he's towards the end of his life. How does that pan out for the rest of us when we have a president of the United States who doesn't think and is convinced he's not going to heaven? What does that mean his decision making is? He already said to the New York Post today that he doesn't care about the polling. He doesn't care about what the American people think, and he may put troops on the ground. He took this is going to be a few-day war, to now it's going to be maybe 4 weeks or more. I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported, you supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq, the man that said no more foreign wars, no more regime change, promise it on the campaign. J.D. Vance promised it. Tulsi Gabbard promised it. All of them promised it. And we're a year in, and we're in another fucking war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the fuck is happening to this country and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
First of all, why does Megyn Kelly look like a superhero villain?
She still looks hot, but yeah, she does.
She looks like a superhero villain. And what did Megyn Kelly say? Because isn't she pro this war?
No, Megyn Kelly's not. Now, Kelly isn't where Marge is, but Megyn Kelly's doing there's a lot of things I'm uncomfortable with this war. Like she's in that place where she's not fully against it, but she doesn't feel good about it. But back to Marge real quick. I never thought I'd say this in my life, but I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is 100% right on that little statement. No, the more she talks like this, the more I'm finding her attractive, though.
Okay.
But she's 100% right there. Everything she just said, I 100% agree with. And I'm curious at the end where she was saying we need to rip the Band-Aid off and have a serious conversation. Is she talking impeachment? What is she talking there? I don't know.
I think that's what she's talking about. I think she might be for impeaching Trump.
I don't
if
think
the vote came up today. I think she might.
Oh, well, she's not there anymore. She's not there anymore, but she would.
That's true.
But
yeah.
I don't think Trump realizes what's going on right now, though, because I said it earlier. Candace Owens has a very large audience of suburban mom age women that are watching her, and she's very against this war. Megyn Kelly has a pretty big audience herself, and Megyn Kelly herself isn't really down with this war, and then she's having Marge on. Marge got to say that to a lot of pro-Trump people today on that show. A lot of people that normally wouldn't hear that got to hear that.
Yeah,
this is problematic for him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I wonder how many. I'm looking up to see how many views that got, because how big is Megyn Kelly's show? Actually, it's kind of
Well, she has a show on Sirius XM and then a YouTube show. I don't know if they're the same. I don't know if she plays the same thing on both.
Oh, okay. So this is Marjorie Taylor, 41,000 views. That's not a ton.
But how many people heard that on Sirius XM?
Yeah, true.
So anyhow, I said, I just think that's something to be aware of, is all I'm going to say. And then just because I love Daily Wire infighting, Matt Walsh is part of the Daily Wire. I don't really care for him. He's the guy that did the movie What Is a Woman? Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
He thinks he's funny. He had a tweet today. He's been railing against this war for a little bit. His tweet today, I can't take the gaslighting, guys. I really can't. Conservatives are now running around saying Iran has been waging a war on us for 47 years. Okay, then why didn't any of you call for an attack on Iran at any point up till now? Why didn't you make a case for Trump ending the war, not starting it, until precisely the moment when Trump did it? You and I both know that you are latching onto a talking point you never used until 45 seconds ago. You and I know that almost every conservative influencer in the business was opposed to war with Iran until just now. And now you're trying to use justifications that stretch back decades. It doesn't make any sense. If you changed your mind, fine, say so. Explain why. You're allowed to change your mind. I've changed my mind about things, but don't try to rewrite history. Be honest about it. There's too much at stake to play these games. That's fun for me on a lot of levels, but also the fact that Ben Shapiro is going to be really pissed about that, and Matt Walsh works for the Daily Wire, so that makes me happy. Happy deep down inside. So anyhow, the last thing I want to end on with all this, we talked about the sleeper cells and how there could be an uprising of some Islamic terrorist attacks in America. Do you know who the number one person at DHS is that's supposed to be keeping its eye out for terrorism in the U.S.?
Tulsi Gabbard?
Nope. She's the director of national intelligence.
Oh. DHS. I don't.
The head of federal counterterrorism.
Oh, that young kid.
Thomas
Goofball.
Fugate.
Fugate. Oh God. We've got a 20-year-old. Oh no.
He bagged groceries while going to college. Got out of college and went straight to it might have been the Heritage Foundation. It was one of those places, and like interned with them, and then went straight to being the head of counterterrorism at DHS. So we're in good hands. Between him and Kash Patel, we're fine.
Who does he know?
That. What's that?
Who does he know?
He was an intern at one of those right-wing think tanks, and that's all it takes. He doesn't know anybody, I don't think.
He's got to know somebody.
If he does,
There's no way
does, I'm not
put
aware.
him in charge. A 20-year-old in charge.
I agree. I find that really, really comforting. When I start to get worried about what might happen in America, I remember Thomas Fugate, and I sleep well at night.
I'm so ready for this administration to be done with.
Yep.
Can we get some sanity back in this world? Fugate is in charge.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but no, we can't we don't have any sanity right now. We might later, but right now it's not happening.
The world's on fire.
Yep. So anyhow, that's my full catch up on the Iran war.
Okay.
I will be shocked if this ends in the next couple of days. I think this is going to last at minimum a month and probably beyond. Here's I want to make this prediction. I don't think it's ever going to end like we come to an agreement with Iran and we sign something and it's over. I think at some point Trump's just going to stop bombing them and say we won. And we're just gonna stop, and then it'll kind of just trail off. They'll make a couple terrorist attacks here and there, and we'll be like, shut up. But I don't see any kind of a formal end to this war happening. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
we're gonna declare victory and just stop bombing them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds about right.
Yep. So anyhow, do you have anything else you want to get to tonight? That's all I got for us.
I thought you were going to talk AI.
Yeah,
You want to save that for another one?
Yeah, let's save it. I feel like we need a whole show dedicated to what's going on with Anthropic. And by this point, 4 people are still watching, and I don't want to waste it on this.
Okay, I have one more thing we should end on.
What you got?
Okay. This is from the Good Liars.
I love them.
Yes, they're so great. And they went to the Olympics and they were asking, it's a great bit, a great clip. They were asking all these people from other countries, like, who is the biggest threat to world peace? Like, what do you think about the United States right now? And nobody seems to like the United States.
I could have told you that.
I pulled one short clip just because I thought it was interesting. Check this out.
One opinion. Everybody could vote who is the biggest enemy of the world peace, and that's Donald Trump. Not the Chinese, not the Russians, not the Ukrainians, but for us it was Donald Trump. It was 60% of the Dutch people vote for Donald Trump. Is
as the biggest threat to world peace.
Yes. And it was always Putin, but now these days Trump. So that's yeah.
And why is that? You think he's actually a threat to peace in the world?
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah. So yeah, we are a little bit scared about him, about his ideas, because you never know what he's gonna do. Yesterday he says this, and tomorrow he says that. So nobody knows what he's going to do. That's the problem.
It's hard to trust him because he keeps changing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason. Yeah. So yeah, we don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. Maybe build another wall for Canada. We don't know.
Yeah, that's right on the head. And I think you've mentioned it before. I know we both talked about it, but Europeans are way more plugged into what's going on in American politics than most Americans are. Like they watch this stuff. They know what we're doing. They know what we're arguing about. Like I said earlier, we got people driving around here that are like, who bombed who first, us or Iran? Like, how do you not know that? The Europeans know who bombed who first. They're very plugged in.
We might be, besides like North Korea and China, we might be the least plugged into the news, to world news.
That's what's sad. And like, it's almost like a bad thing over here. Like if you're a news junkie and you're watching politics all day, everybody's like, he's into that. But it's like, you should know it affects us directly. Like it's going to affect our kids. So
yeah. And you got to think about Europe. They pay attention to like all the other European countries' politics.
Mm-hmm.
They know like how their systems work, who's in charge, what's going on, because they're so closely tied.
Do you think it's kind of by design? I just realized this. So this half-baked idea, but all the stupid shit we fight about, and when you watch politicians on TV, they're arguing with each other, and it's almost designed to make you go, I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, are they almost doing it to get us to tune out so they can just have their way with whatever they want to do?
No, it's the opposite. We tune into the drama. Like,
so
why do you think the Kardashians were so popular?
That's true.
Drama. And the Europeans, they make fun of us for that. They're laughing at us. They're like, "Oh yeah, your news shows."
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, well, yeah.
I've been making myself watch more news overseas, like Al Jazeera. What's the European one?
BBC.
Yeah, well, yeah, BBC, and then there's another one, the Star News, or starts with an S, I think. I forget.
Sky News.
Sky News, yeah. I've been trying to make myself pay attention to more of that stuff and listen to what's happening around the world.
You listen to NPR a little bit, don't you?
Yeah.
So our buddy Clint that also lives in Colorado, that's where he gets all of his news, is NPR. And I gotta say, I need to start listening to NPR because there'll be things like we're going to talk about Anthropic soon, but I was mad a week ago about Anthropic, and he was kind of asking me what was going on, and I was like, the thing I'm most mad about is barely getting covered, and it's Anthropic, and he like cut me off, and he was like, oh yeah, Anthropic, and he went through and told me exactly what was happening, and I was like, oh wow, I was like, where'd you hear that? And he was like, NPR's been talking about it a lot. So I wonder, is NPR talking about like the important things that a lot of our news sticks with the sexy stuff, the stuff that people want to see people argue about. And I wonder if I'm missing out on not watching NPR or listening to NPR. So I need to give that a shot.
Even NPR has like, it's a totally different, like NPR Colorado is totally different than NPR in Texas.
Really? Okay,
Like
I never knew that.
Yeah, so it's different, but they also, like, at night, they play BBC. They have the BBC playing.
Well, yeah, I need to check that out, so.
Yeah.
Anyhow, all right. I got nothing left for you. Anything else, buddy?
No, that's
awesome.
it.
All right. Have a good night. Hopefully things don't get out of hand.
Oh, yeah, subscribe.
Yeah, we should really say that at the beginning. All right. Later, buddy.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.